Start recording. Okay. We are professional developers here. Okay. So, last time we got this little fun guy. We have our separation, and then we can, stick a whole lot of things in, and we can mash space. And if we mash it enough times, it'll iterate through and hopefully separate everything. So, and I was thinking about a little bit about how we might think about if, we have a scenario like this somehow, how we, in theory at least, would go about solving that. And that is, what we would probably do is we would probably come up with a system of like, okay, these are all touching each other, so let's keep them touching each other. Let's spin up like a list of contacts and sort that out. So that's sort of something to think about for the future, because our current method just separates them. It doesn't think about the fact they're touching each other. If we were doing like a real physics engine, all of these circles would have like a contact object, and so if something pushes one of them, maybe that force would go through that contact, and obviously that involves storing a tree, and it's quite complicated. So that's something we could think about doing later, if we were, like we were talking about, if we were concerned about the fact that if we have a whole bunch of circles, it doesn't separate quite as cleanly as we might like, if that becomes a problem. But for today, the first order of business today is we're getting sick of doing this business. So have you got a web browser handy? And I'm just going to paste you this URL into that thing. I'll grab it as well. So this is the FNA template. So for people watching at home, this is the thing that we use. And I'm just going to click on raw, and I'm just going to copy the text because who can be bothered doing a file. Add new item, input.cs, and I'm just going to paste that in and fix the namespace. So now we have our nice input methods rather than having to like do this crap. So, and we can like, if we're so inclined, put dot is key key went down. So we can go through and fix those. No need to necessarily fix them all immediately, but that will at least get us partway there, and eventually we can get rid of those. So anyway, that little bit of housekeeping, just to keep the project nice. In fact, and of course in the top of update we need input.update is active.
Oh, sorry, give me 2 seconds here.
Take your time.
I'm back at. I just pasted the thing from the internet.
Yeah, so I've just stuck input.update. That's the important one. And if later we want to go through and delete these ones, we can actually worry about that.
Okay, but did you change? You changed these already, right?
I just changed these three just for fun.
Went down.
The last three. If you want to change that to input.key went down.
Yeah, that's so much nicer.
Oh, I know. I'm amazed that they didn't do that, but I guess, yeah, who knows.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's today's little bit of housekeeping. So what we want to do today is we've got circles working, and I think we were talking about this off air. There's sort of 3 stages of this process that we're going to go through. Didn't prepare that. Get my brush settings nice. Okay, much better. Okay, so we've done circles. Maybe you can think about, you could probably say there's 3 stages. So we've got arbitrarily placed circles with the separating axis there. So we've done that. And what we were going to do next, because we were talking about this, and I think it was off air, we were going to do like pong basically, and so that's paddle and ball, and we were thinking that's probably a good first stage. So what we need is these suckers, which are axis aligned bounding boxes, and these are nice because they're axis aligned, so we only have two axes to consider. So if they're intersecting, we have to look at the x-axis, there and there, and obviously they overlap there, and also the y-axis, and so these guys overlap here. Diagram's great today. And so after we've done that, then we'll start thinking about arbitrarily shaped objects. So we might have like a triangle and a square, let's say a triangle and a square like that, and then we have to figure out what these axes are. So for the triangle, for example, it would be an axis that is 90 degrees to this guy, so that one, and then one coming down here, and then one coming out here, and then the square will also have that and that. So these are all the axes we'll have to check for the triangle case and the square case. So we're working our way up to multiple axes and all of the rigmarole involved with arbitrary axes. But for today, our goal is to do this, and then also at some point we'll have to do ABB versus circle, which we might save for later. So this is today's task. Sound good to you?
Yes.
Sweet.
I was muted, but yes.
Let me see. So basically, this is going to be one of those sessions where I more or less hand over the reins to you and see what happens and provide input where necessary. So I guess the first thing we need to do is some sort of input system. So over here we've got a pending circle, and we draw a pending circle. So I guess I'll let you go ahead with that, but it's probably almost not worth pointing out, but when we build the circle, we start from the center and drag the cursor out to get a radius. So if we can probably do exactly the same thing with a square. We can start there and be like, okay, so that's going to be it would be a rectangle. That's maybe a poor example. So say we drag the mouse out to here. So in black we get that circle, but if we consider it on two axes, because they're axis aligned, so we don't need to worry about extra clicks, we can build that rectangle with the same input methodology. So we probably want the tab key to switch modes between placing squares and circles, but we can just keep more or less the same input code otherwise. So off you go.
All right. Well, input's cool. I'm just gonna draw this. I'm just gonna draw the square for now, and then I'll worry about mode switches. Let me think. So
makes sense. I mean, I think we have. What have we got? We've got pending circle start and mouse world position, and where's where we draw that? It's like here. So maybe that's a good place to start.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I have everything.
So just draw it over the top, I think. Good idea.
Yeah, let's start small. So I draw some lines.
Uh-huh.
I think. So we're going to start the line at, because it doesn't really matter, but I'm always going to be Okay, so let me just remember. Radius is. Is radius the whole thing? Or the middle half of the thing? I think it's
Radius
half.
is half.
Yeah, it's half. Yeah, yeah.
So we're kind
So
of working
that's
like,
actually already. Mhm.
I was going to say, when you're talking about rectangles, you can say that this is the rectangle has these things, which is like the radius of the rectangle, but it has two, and so you
That's
sort
true.
of can think about it for the same reason.
Yeah, but you kind of drew. Yeah, yeah. No, that's fine. I'll do it that way. So yeah, let me just think about it. I'm gonna start at and I gotta remember about my hats. Gotta keep my hats on. Pending circle start. What is that? That is literally the center. And then,
Mm-hmm.
um, we don't have a rectangle drawing method. We might end up with one, but let's just some loud noises.
So I might suggest we don't use rectangle because rectangle is integer coordinates. So at some point we may want to
Oh
build
right.
our own rectangle type.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Um. So why don't I mean, I don't know. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna take this. Making a new vector, so I know I'm doing the wrong thing already.
Well, okay, let's have a little quick chat about that. So you were saying about I hat and J hat, because we're axis aligned.
I don't care about I hat and J
I
hat
mean,
right now.
yeah, we had we had N hat up here, but in this case we literally have X hat and Y hat. So if, in this particular case,
I can
specifically,
cancel them out, yeah, because they don't.
well, you can actually new vector X, Y, and choose your own, because this is equivalent to being like, well, I want to move out this much on X and this much on Y. So you can
Right.
actually devolve down to actually making new vectors in this particular case, because we're not, doing any kind of rotation and stuff.
Yeah, but that's just the way it is right now. So it's kind of cheating though, because if I, what about like zooming and all? I mean, I know we can just scale for the zoom, but
Well, let's
at the moment we rotate it, this will go bad. But I want to just get the darn thing together here. So I'm gonna do this.
Yep, there's method behind this madness. Trust me on this.
Okay.
But yeah, we are. We will actually get to a position fairly soon where we actually start considering these axes. Like we're going to be like, well, I want an axis here that does the separation, and at that point we're going to be like, well, that's y hat, and we'll start treating that as a arbitrary axis. So later on, when we have an arbitrary one, we can group this all together. But for just drawing the thing and setting it up, you can absolutely do this business.
Okay. Cool. All right. So it doesn't really matter which line I start with. So I'll just unless there's a preference. It's like the bottom left, top right, whatever.
Yeah,
But what?
that's always a good way to go.
Okay. Oh, this is boring. No, bottom left, top. Wait, that's not right. Oh, whatever. So yeah, I'll start with the bottom one. So I'm gonna remove the radius from there, and I'm going to add the radius here. I don't know if I really want a whole inline thing. Maybe I just slap this in here. Just say the start is this, and the end is. Wait, I'm gonna start at the top left. I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
That's
Oh
all
yeah,
right.
so it said on this
Let
one
me
is
make a
gonna.
suggestion.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's think about what we're doing here. We're drawing lines at this stage.
Yeah,
So,
right. I'm just saying, like, I'm just trying to draw. Yeah, that's where I am
one,
right now. I'm
two,
in that
three,
spot.
4. So we have 4 points, but we're going to need each of them twice. So we should probably start, TL, BR,
Okay.
TR,
Fair enough. Oh yeah,
and
it's
so on.
true. Okay. Yep. So PL is this. River City's made me always doubt whether I'm adding Y to go up or not. I forget, but I think it's this way in this world.
Yeah, this is why sort of it's a habit that I get into to as soon as possible make y go up.
Okay.
So,
We're not. Should we do that? Oh, we can do that
so
soon. But
I think we will leave that for now because this is all just testing stuff. But yeah, at some point we might want to consider that. And to be fair, like these are kind of arbitrary. It's like you could call these like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
And if you flip them upside down, it's still going to work.
Okay, so I want to go from the top left to the. I don't. It doesn't matter. The top right. And what are we doing for thickness here? I guess.
Did we have a
Zoom 3F zoom?
Let's grab thickness and just move it up.
Oh. Where'd it go? We don't have.
It's
okay.
down in the block way below. It's in the circles equals 2 thing.
Yeah,
somewhere.
I see it.
Yep.
All right. All right. So top left to top right. Thickness. Red. Top right. Bottom right. Oh, where did I go? Where am I? No. Okay. Let's do one of these in bottom. I don't know if I want to do this necessarily. Bottom right to bottom left, and then bottom top left. All right. I'll just see what happens. No.
I mean, it's always good to get something on screen. So let's see what this does.
It's gonna do something stupid. Ah. Right. That's the wrong spot. Well,
no, that looks like it's doing what I mean. It sort of working.
Well, actually, I had a different idea what I wanted. I think what I kind of wanted to do is make your graphs like when I placed it, it would put the thing. I mean, the circle is too big. I got to divide the radius by 2. If I want to match your thing.
Well, yeah. So we can say that the radius is not necessarily right.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but I'll just swap this here.
Okay, well, let's test that one.
Thickness is, I don't know, aesthetically is displeasing. Oh, right. Okay, so that's not even it. It's only the width, only the x-axis is that way. Alrighty. Okay, that's fine. So I'll just wait a minute.
So let's
Wait, no, that's not. I'm missing some math, bro. Probably. I don't want to just arbitrarily divide stuff until it looks like yours. Yours is basically half. Yeah, yours is the length of it is the radius, but the fact that I'm starting from the center and moving back half and then up.
The radius is obviously let's go orange. The radius is this distance here, and it's also this distance here, and this distance here. So which is not necessarily what we want because we want this
it's not
cyan one, but you'll notice we have 2 for the rectangles. So
we have two discrete lengths that I need to find. So I forget where I'm at here. So one of these is right. Just the bottom one is right. So I have the length of the top left to top right and bottom left to bottom right.
So don't forget our goal is if we have the mouse cursor there. So.
Oh, really? What does that mean?
So this is the thing. We click here, we drag out to here. And if I draw this differently, so if I could do a circle like this and be like drag from there to there, I'll get a completely different shape. I'll get this shape.
Okay.
So that's the goal.
Okay. In that case, then, I don't want to start at all from the center. I want to start from the I might as well start from the position of the mouse, um, which is different than the pending circle start. That's where we stop, where we put our mouse down, and the mouse world position is where we're actually wanting to draw from, I think.
Well,
Right? I mean,
um,
it's arbitrary, I guess, but that would be the easiest way.
well, we're going to need to. How do I explain this?
The unit circle stuff. I mean, I got to plot where I'm gonna actually be on this circle, right?
I'm almost tempted to say, trust me. The starting from pending circle start is where we want to be. So this bit's
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
And I think that's largely because that's going to feed into what we're going to do later. Um,
Mhm.
so for now, let's just keep that in there, and we're just working on what are we going to add to it to get the top left, bottom right, all of these ones.
Right. Okay. Right. What are we going to add to it? Well,
Because right now we're adding the radius, and we're getting something that might be useful in a different context. Like, I don't know, maybe you want the half radius as a square, but in this
yeah.
case we actually want a rectangle.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, there's, I mean, the orange, the tan, the ugly colored vector between pending circle start and
Dissing my diagram.
yeah. Well, there is a vector that I mean, I'm gonna, I'm not great at this. I'm gonna just start by like, I'm actually gonna draw the, I'm gonna draw that ugly thing.
That's
I want to
reasonable.
start from the pending circles start, and I want to end at the mouse row position. Thickness and then color is like burnt orange, burly wood. Is that it?
Let's go with it. I want to know
Yeah,
what Burley Wood looks like.
me too. I'm fascinated now. But yeah, I mean, I think I mean, whoa, I got to do some more math stuff. Yeah. Okay. So this is always gonna basically be where I need the bottom right corner to be. So at least I know something like that. So no matter what I do, the bottom right corner's got to be in that spot. Um, so okay, so that I got to do some vector stuff because I need to calculate from top left to, well, from maybe from, I'm not sure. But I know I got to do something mathy like adding a vector.
So I'll say it again because it is kind of going against like something I've been sort of thrusting on quite hard, and that is we can actually start slicing our vector into components for this particular case because that's what we're doing. So unlike
Slicing a vector into components.
yes, so where we have where we're normally like don't touch this, don't go v dot x plus blah. In
You
this
really want me to do
single
that? Yep.
case, that is okay because that's basically what we're doing. We're trying to figure out how much x have we got and how much y have we got. And it's only the case that we can do that because we're doing something that's axis aligned because it's an axis aligned
Right.
bounding box.
That's right. That part makes sense to me. I get why it makes sense until you're not aligned anymore. All right, well, let me just, this must be a stupid way to do this then. The distance, I mean, where am I here? If I put this right here, where am I? I am, yeah. Because, I mean, how am I supposed to know exactly where I am? I mean, I'm on a circle, right? I mean, sine, cosine type stuff.
No, in fact, let's go ahead and do this. Yeah, let's stop. Um, let's do that. In fact, yeah, that'll do for now. This is really what we have. The circle is just something else we were doing, remember?
Yeah.
So for now, that's actually fine. The circle is just the other stuff we haven't got rid of yet, or
Okay.
added mode switch for.
The circle to me is making me think that I have to like really know where I am on the edge of that circle in order to calculate the line.
Well, I mean,
So,
you
all right.
know exactly where you are on the edge of the circle, so that's kind of
Yeah, well,
why.
I'm at mouse roll position. Yeah.
So yes, we'll ignore the circle for now.
Okay. Um. So why don't we add the delta between it and the mouse roll position?
Seems like the right sort of track.
So how do I add the delta here? So I mean, which one would come? Well, it wouldn't matter, I guess. So the mouse roll. You want me to mess with components? I'm not just gonna add multiple or whatever, remove them. So multiple position x minus. I'm gonna move that. Wrongness is strong here. I'm not gonna. What am I doing here? Bottom right is the. I'm starting with the mouse roll position. I'm removing circle start. And in this case, I'm starting with that and removing the
So
start.
same as we were talking about before. As we're on one axis, we basically just have a number line, and so the same. If that's the end and that's the start, we can subtract end from. So we can subtract start from end, and we get that distance there. Let's pick up
Right.
the car. So
Oh,
that's
so cool. I opposited it, but
well, that's what you've got. You've got this distance here. So this is kind of a relative distance, and that's a good start. But we want the absolute position to place the thing there. So we've got part of it. So we, in fact,
yeah.
I'll see. Let you do something. So. That's looking pretty good to me.
Well, it isn't. And I finally had some kind of. Oh yeah, I just forgot the X component. I finally had some like grasp, and now I'm like, now do everything the way you were doing it before when you didn't understand linear algebra. Okay, well.
Well, I think it's kind of interesting to now go back and look at the case where the exception does make sense. So that's looking much better.
I mean, to a point, it screws up when I.
Well, that's the absolute happening, which is fine because we actually do want the bottom right corner to be at the bottom right.
Right. Okay. Well, I just have to do the rest of them then.
So we just bang that into the rest. Seems pretty good to me.
Okay. So yeah, that's the other thing. Okay. That's the bottom right. So these are all gonna be.
So well, before you do that, we can probably share some of these values. So I mean, let's have a little think about what would you call this thing you've got in the maths.abs section, like that part of it.
All that abs or AX, I guess.
That's not bad. What you've got there is what we would call the half width, and the other one's the half height.
Okay. Yeah, I made HR for half radius, but yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So there's the width, and there's half the width. So yep.
Oh, so this is gonna okay. Right. So that's obviously bottom right because we're adding both. So yeah, this is just gonna be. I'm just gonna these up. I don't need HR when I'm done, but that's fine. I'll take this guy. Just blow away everything else here. Actually, I could just go HW, 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 HW. Oh. Wait. No. H. I have two. There we go. Alright, let's see how we did. Yay!
Very nice.
Greatest developer ever.
I've made a mistake. But yeah, yours is looking good.
Can we just ship this? We can just ship this. It's fine.
Yeah.
Early access.
I'd say so. It's probably better than a bunch of other early access titles on Steam. We need a good title, like, I don't know, Rectangle Man.
Yep. Okay. All right. So yeah. Okay. So now, okay, this is a very
Hello,
basic thing.
I'm Rectangle Man.
Genius. Need a level editor now. Okay.
Metacritic 100. Metacritic 100. We're done.
Quit while you're behind.
All
All
right.
right. Well, I got a thing, and it's drawing a thing.
Okay.
Um.
So yeah. So that was a good place to start because it's always good to get something on screen. Now what we want to do is we want to think about, we're storing these. We're making a list of circles, and we're sticking it in this array, and we've got some pending separation which we'll have to deal with. But so now we want to be able to draw a bunch of these. So that's stage 2.
Okay. Well. Right. So, what do I need here that's not? Well, we have. I mean, the circle contains the radius. Sorry, I completely forgot exactly. So I'm calculating. Well, are we store? We're not storing the mouse world position at the moment, or the
No.
the position that you would. Yeah, there's the pending circle start, and then there's the. We need to now store the. In this in this data structure, we need to store where we ended. So we don't need to store these because we just calculate those, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when we make, where are we adding a circle up in update? So when we add a circle, we are right here. So so the position is a pending circle start. We need the other position. Now, here's a question, I guess. Are we gonna mess with circle, or are we gonna store new stuff?
Let's store new stuff. So this is why I wanted to have a mode. So eventually we'll be like at the top of, I don't know, somewhere we'll be like bool place angles equals true. And so we'll just over here we'll just be like if place rectangles, else we'll place circles.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah. So in that case, then I'm gonna make a rectangle.
Now we'll have to think about what we will name it. Rectangle's probably fine. No one wants to use X and A rectangle anyway.
Well, I mean, it's not really a rectangle because I'm just. Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm storing 2 positions here. Well, wait. Oh, I'm storing this center. And I'm just gonna call it position. And what is this? If that's the position, what is this guy really called? I don't know. Naming's hard.
Well,
And
there's sort of reason that you might call it the radius.
oh yeah, of course. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
What I would be inclined to do, just as a just because, so as we were saying, it's really weird and unusual that we would break things into components like this.
Right.
And so I would be inclined to store them as components rather than as a vector 2, just to make that so make the number of places we're doing this business as minimal as possible. Because otherwise we're like, everywhere we use it, we'll divide it into components. So yeah, radius X and Y is perfectly reasonable things to call it.
Okay. All right. So then, I got a bunch of places I gotta do a thing now. Oh, did I even? Oh, I forgot to make them. Right. Cool. And I'm gonna. So this is gonna be like the other part where we basically well equals circle count. Gonna remove them when we remove circles and da da da.
Now, well, yeah, we might want to consider the fact that we probably want eventually circles and rectangles. So let's make a separate
okay.
rectangles count.
Sure.
Because eventually, you know, we're going to make where we're going with this is we're going to make Pong, and
Right. Those are independent things.
we'll have circles and rectangles, and we'll have to, you know, figure out like the separation axis between the two of them.
Wait, what happened to my rectangle count? Count. Rectangle count plus rectangle count is x to mouse position x y position y. Pending. We gotta do pending rectangle. This is more of an operational thing. Pending shape.
Yes. So for now, we can say pending circle. So we could, yeah, pending shape. Makes sense.
So, pending shape start. Yay! With a spelling mistake. Pending shape start.
So this was just a convenience thing, because, like I was saying, we can make circles and we can make rectangles with the same user interface. But eventually, once we start, you know, drawing triangles and stuff with arbitrary vectors, we'll have to think hard about how we're going to draw those. But for now, this is fine.
Okay. Well, this is boilerplate. I'm gonna have to do the same thing with my rectangle count here. Now, rectangles. Well, pending separations don't apply, so forget that.
So what I might
kind of do.
Well, yeah. So what I might encourage you to do at this stage, we're not separating the rectangles yet. We'll have to get to that.
Yeah.
So,
eventually, if we have another, we'll have to do that, making this into a method thing. For now, yeah, I'm just gonna.
I'd keep the circles and the rectangle stuff just aligned. This is the circles. Okay. This is the rectangles, just because we're gonna start pulling that apart.
All right, that looks reasonable. Now I gotta find the deleting place. Circle count, rectangle count, minus, and count to 0 and we escape out. New separation doesn't apply yet to rectangles. What is this? Oh, that's a separation, so I don't have to worry about that yet. Draw.
So all we want to do now is just draw the rectangles we have, just so we're sure that we're making them properly.
Sure.
And so maybe this is a good time to actually make this method, because we're about to do a whole bunch of this.
Okay. Sure. I'm pedantically trying to do some stuff here. Okay, so yeah. So this guy is draw a. You mean like in our drawing stuff, like our line batch? Or do you mean...
Oh, you know what? We could even do that, although maybe not. Maybe not for now. We'll just make it extract method and just call it draw.
I don't want to put this in there, don't I? The abs.
No, because you'll recall that half width and half height are the same as these are actually radius x and.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, right. So I have this stored already. Okay. Yep. So if pending shape.
Giving away the bug.
Yes, right. Radius is already here, so we didn't even need to do this part actually. Now that I look at it, it's whatever.
Well, okay. We do because it's Uh,
2 components, not one.
well, this is the pending shape, so we don't actually have an instance of rectangle yet.
Oh, yeah.
So we should actually go over
Right.
to our rectangle method, and it's because uh, it's a member method. It's gone ahead and not done this, so we want vector2 dot position. And probably color.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Okay,
That
and
looks
then back
pretty.
up
Does
here.
that look good to you? It looks good to me.
Yeah.
Now it can just be
So,
like, I want a rectangle and I want it there. So
yeah, yeah, that's right. Okay. So in this case, we want it pending. Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Oh, and the color too. Sure. Okay. And that's if we want to actually draw it while we're trying to figure out where it goes, but we
yeah,
probably do.
we
We
probably
want to
do.
cross. We want to cross the arrow too. So, yeah, and then, okay, so when we're actually drawing this, okay, you wanted to. We're not actually doing anything with this anymore. Interesting.
What was that one? Oh, that was that's a super old intersection test. That's the other style of intersection test. That's the Minkowski style.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think, in fact, we could probably get rid of that if we're so inclined.
Yeah, I'll have to re-remember it anyway. All right, so if circle count is 2, so this is all circle related stuff, circle-y junk. I guess this is very much all about circle. Wait a minute, where did the? Oh, here it is. Okay, this is the simple part. All right, so need that. That's drawing circles, so I will draw rectangles too. Let's copy paste here. So we draw a rectangle. Position. Rectangle. VSX. Rectangle. I. This color, whatever, royal blue.
Excellent choice. So,
I mean, I've done a lot of things. I'm pretty sure.
well, we didn't do that much. We we extracted out the draw rectangle method and we added this loop, I think, and we deleted something. We deleted this business. So I think that's actually it. We didn't change anything else.
No.
We can always run it and see what we broke.
Well, yeah, that's not where it's supposed to be.
So we've got an error. So
it's a fine art generator. It's perfectly fine the way it is. Okay, yeah. So what do we do?
Time for some debugging.
So what did I mess up here? So let me think. Okay, that's just nuts. Interesting. All right. Well. Okay. So yeah. Well, when I created this rectangle, it seems like I have the wrong component. Like the data is wrong. Seems. Like at minimum, this data is wrong. So I'm gonna go with where I'm newing it up. So, okay. So the position. The pending shape start, that's the center, so that seems right. And the radius is definitely not this, because it's supposed to be the half height. Where did my absolute math code go? Here it is. Let's go up here. Yeah, I'll just Just I gotta do the edit and continue trick sometime soon. I keep forgetting. All right, so HW. I'll just out, drop it here.
The heck?
It's out. Drop it here.
My undo buffer broke. That's weird. I found a bug in Visual Studio. I've caused some serious issues with this. What the hell happened?
Awesome.
Bear with me while I fix this.
Oh, that's cool.
I can't undo, so I have to fix this by hand.
Maybe close the file and reopen it.
I'm afraid I saved it, so I mean I probably should close the whole damn thing and reopen it. But yeah, so yeah, that's looking pretty good to me. So
okay, well, I can wait. Well, what's this guy? That might be a bug.
I think you just clicked.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. One of these days I'll make a thing that says this has to be a minimum amount, and it won't count otherwise. Or like if you let go at the same position.
Yeah, I found I had to put that in the test thing that I did for this.
Oh no! Well, while you're doing that, maybe I want to separate the rectangles too.
Well, that's probably a good start. Of course, the rectangles will separate somewhere different to the circles.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, I keep forgetting the rectangles are not visual representations of the inner part of the circle. They're independent objects, so I don't really have to do that yet because we haven't gotten to.
I was going to say, well, now might be a great time. While I fix this code, it might be a good time for you to just slap in a mode switch so you can switch between doing rectangles and circles. So there's a little bit of work involved there because, well, we'll get to that. But
all right, I'll just try while you
try that, and I'll fix this file. Oh, Microsoft.
They do more good things than bad in the balance, I guess, sort of.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm just like, hopefully I didn't lose too much actual legitimate code that we want to keep. I think I've just completely lost that. So.
All this.
Of course, now I'm going to actually go and look at what you're doing and make sure I'm caught up to that as well.
Oh, it's fine. I'll like I wasn't sure if I should. Like, I guess that the mode is only about drawing, so I don't really have to mess with that yet.
The mode. Well, I'm going to say the mode is probably less about drawing and more about placing shapes, because eventually we're going to want to draw circles and rectangles and separate them from each other. So,
right. So what I want to do here is
the drawing code is probably actually like draw circles is probably a misnomer. You probably want to call that place circles.
Good point.
Otherwise, yeah.
Circle mode. Doo-doo.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, yours is more semantically relevant. I'll do this here. Okay, so if mode do this, this. And okay, that's good there. One thing I get kind of super fancy.
That's a good idea.
And yeah, and then if that's a lot of switchers in this here. Oh well.
That's what find all references is for.
Oh no, placing circles is irrelevant to.
Yeah,
I really should have
so
called
the
it.
draw code.
Yeah, you just won. You won the date over the name.
Yeah, so the draw code probably can stay as it is.
Yep. All right, let's see what I broke. Okay, so. Oh, whoops. Well, yeah, hold on. The pending bit. I do want to change that. The pending shape bit. I wanted to say.
We do want to change that one, yeah. So.
Oh, one more thing. There's no point doing any of this if we're not in circle mode. Wait, oh, this is drawing. So
well, I mean, you can always.
No, I still want to. I still want to do that.
Turn that off. I mean, you can always turn that off if you're not in circle mode. I mean, that's just irrelevant. Otherwise, if circle counts too, and placing circles.
Yeah, but I might want to see them while I'm placing rectangles around it.
Fair enough. Okay.
Okay. Right. So, boom, 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 boom. Just tab. Boop, doop, doop.
Hey, that's looking pretty good.
Cool.
Let me just catch up real quick.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
You went down keys, but with the new input thing, you were so quick. It's like place circles equals not place circles. All right, I think I've got everything. No, I'm missing something. Okay, I've lost something.
Well, let's just we can do a quick compare.
I think I figured out what it is.
Oh, okay.
I think.
That looks right.
This is looking pretty good. Hey, that's looking good. So, assume yours does something like that as well. Okay, so we're placing the rectangles. Now we want to separate them. We're almost at the hour, so you feeling up for going a wee bit long and trying to do the separation?
Yeah, if you are.
Sweet. All right, let's do this. Okay, so do separation.
Right,
and for now, I mean, we'll have do separation. We'll do
it'll apply to both things.
May as well.
Because it's not about placing. Well, it's not about placing, right? It's separating, so it kind of makes. I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
we're not writing a user interface here, so.
So for this part, we'll be like, we'll do the rectangles and we'll do circles, and then later on we'll come to like circles and rectangles, or circles versus rectangles. But for now, we'll do them separately just to make life easy. So, and I mean, this code here is probably going to come in handy. So, what we might want to think about is this pending separation thing. Is probably because we're doing this separately, we'll probably want another array for that. What have I done? Build. Okay, good. So pending separation. Pending circle separation. And then of course we have to sort out the resize as well. So I think that's it. And obviously the reason that we're yeah, eventually we'll have to treat rectangles and circles in the same array. So we'll have to come up with an indexing method that we can have circles and rectangles occurring once. This is why we split it out this way. It's like we'll figure out what the pending separation is, and then we'll act on it, and then we'll clear everything. So we'll want that same structure. I'm guessing that you've muted yourself. So
amazing. Yes, I did mute myself.
Cool. It's like,
yep.
Still that.
The difficult challenges of navigating a drink while on the air. Okay. Well.
Just slurp that, like, you know.
Let's make it. Yeah, the fact that I'm doing math isn't enough for self-consciousness. I need to also worry about my slurp technique. No.
Well, it's probably a good thing we didn't get a webcam working on your end as well.
Yeah, no. You don't want to see my office. All right. Where are we at? Okay, so I gotta do 2 checks. Like the circle was just the 1 check, right? Against the x-axis, and we have to do it against x and y.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering, that might end up to be a pile of code, but I'm just gonna steal this circle code for now.
Why not?
Oh.
Why not?
So yeah, and I'm actually just gonna go Control H here and go circle. You are now a rectangle. Thank you very much. And then I'm gonna. Okay, so here's the So this is the. I'm gonna do some scopy stuff here, and for now until I figure out where x and y goes. So rectangle A. Radius x, and we'll just radius x all of this.
Well, before we, I guess that's pretty reasonable. Yeah. I was going to say, before we go too nuts, I mean, let's think about what we're doing with a little bit of a diagramming thing, because
never. You got it all the way.
So
yeah. I need a refresher. I think right now I'm just kind of painting by numbers.
So obviously, when you're doing this on your own at some point for something, you know, it's handy to have a notebook with, you know, just scribble these things out. So let's say we have 2 rectangles. What we want to do, and we've already established that they're axis aligned. So that means we only have to consider the x-axis and the y-axis. So, and you recall what we're doing, we'll do the y-axis just for example, but the x-axis is going to be the same. So we're going to have 2 code paths here. And so we're figuring out where this maps to. So we've got start and end. This is like, if this one is A and this one is B, this is going to be A start and A end. And then we'll have B start and B end. And we're figuring out what, you know, the start minus the end is to get that. And then we do the same thing on the other axis. So we've got, you know, this is the x-axis, and it's like do. we've got A start, B start, A end, B end, and we want to figure out this separation value. Now, we could just arbitrarily use either one of these, but if we say we're not even going to do the x-axis, we'll just do the y-axis, then when we separate them, like we might have rectangles that are like this, we'd much prefer that got separated out like that, rather than doing this, which is what would happen if we did the y-axis versus the x-axis. So this is why we have to consider both axes to pick which one has the smallest amount of separation, which in this case is x, whereas in this case probably is y. As you can see, this is smaller than this one. Right. So that's sort of what we're going for.
Okay. All right. Okay, cool. So we're still, yeah, so I mean, I'm just kind of comparing. So we're basically going to test, okay, so we're going to test, at the end, we're only going to apply this one time. We're going to test two things and then pick the smallest one.
Yes, and let's, while we're talking about this, let's think about this case here, just so we've make sure we cover all the bases, and that is we have a rectangle and a rectangle, and they're not intersecting. And on the x-axis.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're going to get a false positive because the x-axis is overlapping, but it's not on the y.
So yeah, this is how the separating axis test works, and that is you have to test all of the possible axes, because there's going to be cases where they don't intersect, and if they don't intersect on any axis, then they don't intersect in total.
Right.
So that's what we're going for. So over to you.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna flub it here, so I'm gonna call this. There's. I'm gonna move that up here. I'm gonna call this one. Ugh, I hate spelling.
I used to have an extension that spell checked things for Visual Studio. I don't know what happened to it.
This isn't gonna work. Well, I'm just this is all fine. Other than, let me just make sure this actually is this is the X component. So this is all fine.
So the value that we're really trying to find is this separation and which axis it's on. So that's what we're trying to find at first. We're trying to find that and compare them.
That's right. And we're only going to have one.
So we can ignore the mass for now, and we can also sort of ignore the movement for now as well.
Okay. Well.
In fact, separation for probably like this is probably how the code should flow, because that's a separate step. So I might even change that for the circles.
I don't know what you're saying.
Okay, so you'll notice that mass feeds into this and separation feeds into this, but really separation is kind of like a different step. So I'm just going to split out the separation just because it's
oh, I see what you're saying.
yeah, it's a different phase of the algorithm in a sense.
Yep. Right. Well, yeah, I'm trying maybe too hard, but the point was like all this code here is like reusable, but we're only going to pick one winner, so you don't really need to do any. We don't want to assign the separation until we've chosen the winning intersection, if there is one, right?
Yes. So this stuff about mass and movement, this is all relating to setting pending separation. So let's actually find the intersection first, and we can worry about that later. So we'll just move that down to somewhere.
Yeah. So yeah, let's just say this is what happens at the end when we have the winner. So
yep.
That makes sense. Okay, so So yeah, and this is a dumb name. Okay, well, this is probably gonna come down to like style or whatever.
So?
But I guess there's gonna be like a did intersect. And I'm just doing it. Don't even care. I don't worry about it. Putting better.
It's looking pretty good to me so far, so let's keep going.
Did intersect. Did intersect, and in this case, separation wise. X. And then we'll just say if we did a thingy and we want wait, oh, unassigned, oh yeah, so it's all clearly it's false to begin with. So if we did intersect, then we're gonna take this, the separation values just gonna be the smallest of the two. It's not like floats. Oh no, just back to the. Alright, fine. 0, 0, and then you do this. Hold on a minute. This is all in the X component.
Well, let's have a quick aside about mass of this, because we recall that mass is in our case is basically the same as area. So, and the area of a rectangle is, let's see, this is the half width, half height. So we actually want the width times the height. So we double these values, multiply them, and get that. So I'll just, because that's a bit of an aside, I'll just slap in the right code there directly. So what have we got? We've got 2 times that plus 2 times that. So this is x, y, y, x, and this is going to be 4 because it's 2 times that times 2 times that. So there's your area of a rectangle based on radiuses. And well, it is actually really a toy mass because that's eventually what it's going to be.
It just happens to be them. Yeah, I get it. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. But, so now that we
obviously not pi because it's not a circle.
I don't know that. Maybe you do use the pi for that. I'm not there yet. Okay. So yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I kind of want to I think I'm done. I don't know.
Well, okay, let's that's a good first pass, but let's do another look through here. So first of all, I'm just like, what do I want to talk about? Let's talk about, in fact, let's do another pass on did intersect. So let's say we've got our separation x and separation y and did intersect. We've calculated those correctly. So n. N is an interesting one because that's what we had for our circle. So n in this case.
Oh right, we don't need n.
Exactly.
We already are end.
Yeah, n is like that business, and that is not an axis that we're actually testing or using. So
I'll just kill it.
Well, so instead of n, we're going to need, you know, either y something, which is going to be y hat, or x hat, not x squared. X hat. So the question is going to be, you know, which one do we use, how much, where does it go, so on and so forth.
Okay.
Well, And in fact, this code here is a wee bit of a misnomer, because this is, so what you've done there is you've been like, well, A, the first rectangle we're considering, that's moving on the x-axis, and B is moving on the y-axis. So that's obviously doesn't make any sense. So,
well, yeah, you're right.
So,
okay, right.
So we're going to have to decide whether it's the x or the y-axis, and they're both going to have to move on the same axis, basically.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess the problem is that I've hidden things in this min, because we want to know if it was x or y. So maybe I'll just remove that and just be like, okay, if separation x is less than separation y, then x will win. And I don't know if I want to. Oh, whatever. I'll just put like yeah. I don't want to do a copy paste machine here, but what can I store here to make it easier?
Well, this toy mass is going to be the same no matter what, so get rid of that. So we only need to consider these two lines.
Yeah, I'm just going to call n, whether it's unit x. And in the case that they're equal, it really doesn't matter, so unit y is fine.
Yep. Makes sense. So I might encourage you to undo that change, simply because we're doing this less than and also this min, so you may actually just want to do that as a single thing.
I see. Yeah. I don't need to do the math twice.
And in fact, that's kind of important, because in the case that you have something that is equal, I think min does a less than. But if for example min did sort of that and reversed it, in the case that they happen to be exactly equal, you could get a different result. I guess the value would be the same, so it wouldn't actually matter in that case.
Well, it's stylistically, maybe you don't always want the y to be the winner of the equal tie. I don't know.
Well, my thought is, the result of this might be different to the result of that. Sort of logically, does that make sense?
You say it again?
So, if you do, if foo less than bar, separation x equal or separation equals foo else bar. If you're doing something like this, this is basically blown out that min into a separate if statement. So what you're hoping for here, and you're not 100% guaranteed that's the case, is that this conditional and this conditional do the same thing. Because it's possible that, say, you might end up here and here if you get unlucky, and then what we want here does not match what happens here. Does that make sense?
No, I mean, not really, because aren't they...
So in this case, it probably doesn't matter, because the values are going to be more or less lined up geometrically that way. But it's always the case if you want to do this that you want, that. There's always the case if you get to here, you want that. You never want to have a case where you're executing like that line and having these things happen separately.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, of course, yeah. Sorry, I follow you now.
Yeah, so it's always worth thinking about if you have a condition that you only evaluate it once is usually good practice.
Yeah, no, I do that all the time. I just had the min down there and I just hadn't removed it.
Yeah.
Now that we have these two components, I think now we're done.
Okay, I'm just gonna quickly shut my door because someone's mowing. Oops. All right. Yeah, someone had a whippersnapper or something. All right.
I think I've broken broken escape. Oh no. Well, yeah, I have. So, well, I have and I haven't. I kind of wanted to escape to. I have to switch modes to kill the circles.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
So
Well,
I
I mean,
wanted
we
to
can.
do.
I haven't even
That's fine.
written escape, so that's fine. I'll fix that later.
All right. So I have a bunch of circles. So I switch modes. Then I have a bunch of rectangles. Oops. Oh well.
That's
All right,
fine.
and then I press space, and they should all. Uh-oh.
Well, I'm pretty sure there's a bug, but also let's in fact, yeah, there's a bug, but let's also let's start with the simple case with just like two rectangles and make sure that works, because obviously otherwise you're iterating it. And hoping that it works. Hopefully my code matches yours. It does not. What have I done wrong? Ah.
You still have the N.
Sorry?
You still have N as the safe normalize.
Ah. That should have been set in here though. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't have changed anything.
Hmm. Ah, good work, everyone. I think that's right. I think I'm now, yeah. Catching up. Yeah, there we go. So there's a bug.
Yeah.
Of some description. That's kind of a serious looking bug to me. So let's do a wee bit of debugging. So your did intersect code looks right.
Yeah. Obviously the I mean it's kind of yeah, it makes sense.
So let's
Wait a minute. What about this length thing? Yeah, no, that's right because we made the number line. Everything there should be the same. The I wondered about this. So we have no, that's right. Yeah, mass is x times y for each one.
well,
That's easy.
no,
Is it the fact that it's negative?
no. Yeah, there's a bug.
Yeah.
Because radius can be negative.
Yeah.
As we determined. So we have to wrap that in a maths.abs. Now, in theory, actually no, radius can't be negative because we've already done the ABS earlier.
Yeah,
when we started.
I was just thinking about whether it makes sense, in fact, to have this be negative. But I guess it does because it's the same.
It's the same separation amount, and we're splitting it across the same axis. So this is all right as far as I can tell. So we've got a bug somewhere up here. And in fact, I think we may have a couple of bugs. So let's, let me give you a bit of, well, I can see why I have a bug because I'm using them. I've got intersects and did intersect. No, sorry, no, never mind. But there is a bug with did intersect. So let's think about the logic of this case. So we know that it's the case that if they both intersect, then we have an intersection. But if one of them intersects and one of them doesn't intersect, we don't have an intersection. So we need to fix up that case.
Right. I was just trying to pick. Yeah. So no, did intersect is actually, they both have to be right. So, this is the part where I'm probably going to do something horrifying. and that's like, um, negation. Assuming they both wait, no. Yeah, if either one of them doesn't, then none of them do.
Exactly, and we can probably like early out, and we will eventually early out. This is one of the nice performance things when we start getting like here we've got 5 different axes to test. We can just be like, well, we tested the first one and it failed, so we can skip testing the rest of them. But for now, we may as well calculate both.
Well, I got this weird thing happening now. Oh no, I see. I'm now assigning this in either case.
So no, that was fine. Starting true.
I know.
Yeah.
No, I know. Just I've done something wrong because my entirely too helpful plugin is telling me that this is not used in any execution path, so that's telling me there's a bug.
Over here, it's because in this path.
Oh, I forgot to delete this stupid thing. Yeah, there. Yep. All that was.
Well, handy for it to tell you vaguely that you had something wrong.
Yeah, hand wavy. All right. Yeah. Oh, actually, I want to just remove those. Okay.
I'm gonna quickly go and fix up my escape so I can actually clear things.
I still got a bug.
So there is still a bug by the looks.
Yeah, it gives up at some point. It's like, nah, we're good now.
Circles escape.
Seems to be that there's some, there's like an overlap that willing to live with. At a certain point, it just stops. Just like it stops separating. So must have to do with the. It must have to do with the fact that when our toy mass maybe it shouldn't be this calculation because it's never going to reach. Maybe it's never going to reach the distance it needs to. I'm going to check the. Oh, actually, it doesn't separate at all on the x-axis.
So
Straight up, that's the issue. Yeah. So it must be the case that in this case here, it's because I think the x-axis eventually is winning battle of which one should it do, but it's not actually doing it. So okay, yeah. Well, it's an obvious problem that the x isn't. Okay, so why? Okay, so n is saying that we want to move along the. We have the space. We're taking the number line. We're putting it into the x-axis.
So
and
let's have a quick little think about what we've got going on here. We might have to rethink our starts and our ends, because what's happening, I think, is that when you do so when we do the center of B relative to the start of A, when we were doing circles, we assumed that the center, that's the length. Yeah. Okay, so we're still doing this. We've still got our happy little centers, and we're going, here's the center and here's the center, give me the length between them. And obviously that's going to be wrong, because our number line's not going this way, it's going that way and that way. So I'm pretty sure that's where the bug is. Yeah, that's looking good to me. Or that's looking like the bug to me.
Yeah, I mean when I saw it, it looked wrong, but then I convinced myself it was fine. So it's not fine. Okay, so hold on. Well, I don't. So B is a vector and A is a vector. Why can't I just remove length from that?
Now,
That's because it's not float anymore.
something that's come up a few times. It came up before, and that is when you're converting algorithm between circles and rectangles, and you have a radius, and you're calculating. You recall we calculated this with let me get a different color. That one was like length, because you recall our circle formula is like, give me to get a circle, it's like give me all of the points some particular length away from the center. When you start changing, when you get rid of a length, you have to remember that length is always positive, because it's like a square root of x squared, and it takes the positive square root. So when you do this, you need to be like abs of the delta.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Right. Of course. Because length is makes sense intuitively, sort of. Right. Because you're starting from somewhere and you're always moving away from it.
So hopefully, if there's no sign issues, we should be okay.
Yeah, that did what I wanted. Well, that's just terrible, but hold on a minute. I'm not sure that was what I...
Well, I mean, I guess the test to do is, does it do the corner one as you'd expect? Does it do like one at the bottom? And does it do one at the side? Is sort of the first test to check whether it can do both axes. And then maybe
that didn't work at all.
So we have a little bug there.
Well, sometimes it's I don't know how to reproduce that one. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so you'll notice if we do the bottom right corner, it does more or less what it's supposed to. If we do the top left corner, it tries to separate out the bottom.
Yeah.
So we've got an ordering issue, because that's the case because when we did the circle one, you'll recall we made the assumption that the second circle is always after the first circle, because we set this to 0 and we set this to like length or whatever, and then we get we add on the radiuses to 0 and length. In this case, well, we're working on the x-axis, so it's probably a good idea to, like, I've kind of drawn this badly because they always come after, but how can I draw this? I don't think I need to redraw this, but basically you need to make sure that the y-axis is always going that way and the x-axis is always going that way if that's A and that's B. But if like we had this case, then it's like, okay, now it's going that way if we want B to come after A on both axes. But we probably don't want to be fidgeting around with our axes at this stage necessarily. We just want to say, make sure the start of one is after the end of one. What's another way to put that? I think the other way to put that is that you'll notice that I haven't deleted, I've got the A start, A end, B start, B end. And you'll notice I never deleted those for the circles, and that's because, eventually we'll be working in this case where, it could be we've got an axis going along here, and it could be A, B, but it could also be B, A, and they could be in the opposite order. So we have to handle that case. That's basically what I'm saying. Does that make sense? I know I kind of rambled that one a bit.
It does. I mean, I'm fading a little bit. It's late here, but it doesn't. It's not catching that. I mean, why we didn't have to deal with that. I mean, I remember we didn't have to deal with that with the circles. Is that simply because we were in control of them because all we had are positions, so we could arrange the math so that they could be in the order we wanted them to be.
Yes. So there's two ways. There's two ways to handle this. One is we could always ensure that we're setting our axis based on directionality. So it's always going to be the case that B is after A. And you recall when we did the circles that we tested that, and that was the case. So it's like no matter where around this circle you draw, the N, like if we drew it on the other side over here, N is suddenly going to face that way, and it's still going to come after. So we can take that technique with the squares. So it could be...
Isn't that just... Wouldn't we do that by our math absing everything? Because we're replacing the...
No, because that's going to... In fact, that maths abs might be wrong, depending on how we went about this. Because, we can do it the same way here. We can just pick the direction of the axis. So we can choose the one... So in the case where it's AB, we'll take the red axis. My drawing is not very good today. But in the case that it's BA, we'll take the green axis, and we'll do the same and do the same on the up-down axis as well. Or we could do it like we're going to say we're always going to take this axis, and we're just going to enforce the fact that this is always A and this is always B, and if it's this other case, if it's the green case, we're just going to flip the order or something to make sure we're starting with the lower one, or it's sort of the same way of thinking about it, but you, instead of doing the flip in position, it's actually slightly easier to calculate the A start, A end, B start, B end, and when you do the intersection test, let me draw this again. I know I'm kind of scribbling this one a bit. If we have that, we can do this in two ways. So we have that's A start, B start, A end, B end, or if it's the other way, it's B start, A start, B end, A end, B. Oh, sorry, I've completely stuffed that one up. It's B end, A end. So you can see the A comes later. So if it's this red way around, we have to check, as we've been doing, we have to check B start and A end. But if it's this green way around, we have to check A start and B end. And this is probably the best way of thinking about it, because it reduces the ordering problem down into this. So instead of having one intersection check, we've got two.
Right.
Does that make sense? So when we're saying...
Yeah.
So when you've got B start A end, you have to have the reverse. You have to have A start B end to get this other case here.
Yeah, although, I mean, what you said, I could probably cheese it at the top here and just flip rectangle A and B, right?
I did say that, but I think it might be worthwhile to do it this way around, because when we come to do it this thing, you have to do an ordering conditional anyway, and so it just ends up flipping the order of the shapes. Over here is obviously, it's two-dimensional, it's very complicated. You'll have to flip them in different ways for different axes, whereas if you just do both tests over here, this is going to work when we have axes going all kinds of which ways.
Okay.
So how are you feeling? Do you want to try and finish this? We may as well try and finish this off, I think, if you're still feeling up to it.
we're
massively over budget here.
committed now.
But I do feel like we're just about finished, and
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So like you said, it's So this is the first. Well, the first thing I got to do is test whether I'm doing the green way or the red way, right?
so let's make one more thing, because we did something with the circles which was convenient, and that is we always treated this as 0. Now we're accepting things in any order. It doesn't really matter where this is, so we can just be like, we can just use the absolute coordinates. So we can just be like that minus that, that minus that, that minus that, that plus that. So to get our, edges, we may as well just do these in world coordinates, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So float a star equals rectangle A dot position dot X minus radius X, and so on. So, and then we can get rid of this center thing. We don't even have to think about this abs nonsense. And like the relative position of these two things, we can just be like, we'll just do it in world coordinates, it's fine.
Right. So axis aligned is like, this is a lot of assumptions we can make. Oops.
Exactly.
Okay, so yeah, so B start's gotta be and the end is gonna be a position plus radius. Start B position X minus rectangle B. Da da da. Da 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 da. Sure. Right. Well, whatever. It's so simple. Yeah. Okay. Fine. And then now we gotta say, okay, if what are we checking here? We're checking.
So these conditions are going to be quite different. In fact, so let's ignore what we've already got and try and work these out from just straight up this.
Okay. Sure. You leave that on your screen a little bit before you flip to your code screen?
Yeah, I'm going to do exactly that. And in fact, I'm going to draw another little thing, and that is the case where they're not touching. And I know I've kind of snookered myself as far as room goes here. But we also have to consider this case and the opposite. So.
Oh, I was thinking. Okay, I was a different idea. Okay. The B start is less than A. And well, no, hold on. Damn. I don't even know where to begin. The like I want to test if it's a red or green. I should just simply be able to do that if the end of red is, well, because it might intersect. So I can't. There is no test whether red is, if it's red or green, other than just doing the.
Well, let's think about the red case first. We'll try and do the red case, and then we'll think about the green case. So we've got two scenarios in the red case.
Yeah, sorry, it's all, my brain is completely derailed now. So yeah, it's just I'm looking at that and so yeah, in the case, so A end is sorry, B start is going to be less than A end. We have that already. That's the red case right here. That's one of the red cases.
B start is less than A end. Okay. Yep.
Yep. Is that it?
I'm going to make a suggestion here. I think. You know what? I'm kind of fading too. I'm like, maybe we should save this for next week, or in fact, it's not even next week. We'll give it a quick go. Drawn my diagram wrong.
I don't think I'm doing this right.
Okay, so we've got B start is less than A end.
If B start is,
yeah. This should be A start is less than B end. Whoops.
Wait, A start. Wait, where's B end on that? This is BS. There's two BS's on your green line.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm just,
you know how you said you were fading? I went and quote unquote fixed that, and it's like, no, that's actually right.
And then but in this case, so I was trying to just say like if B. Yeah, no, this should be A start is less than B.
Yeah, that was right. My bad. Okay. So else if A start less than B end. Okay, so let's just and then that's B end minus A start. So we've got our two separation cases. I don't think we need to calculate intersects. And yeah, so I can reduce that code down a wee bit. So that's not a bad start. So let's make sure that we're working with, so we've got this one sorted out, red and green, but let's make sure we're not screwing up this case where they are actually separated and not intersecting.
Okay.
Because B start less than A end is this case here. Where's my pen? This case here, because B start is less than A end. So we have more conditions to do to make sure that this one and this one are not considered the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. So so A start is less. Damn it! What's it again? Yeah. I'm just adding ands here, right? So. Yeah, it's gonna be the flip side. I can't read this anymore. So
yeah, I know. This what we're doing is almost it's an overlap test.
Yeah,
and
simple, and here I am going.
Every
less than
you find that you have to write this exact test a lot. In fact, I think I have like a little helper method for it, because it's like I can't be bothered sitting down and thinking out these 4 cases here to think about. But you do have to sort of, this is one of those ones like what's some other things like the length of a radius and length of a line and stuff. It's just one of those ones you have to have as like, this is a thing I can do. There's four conditionals in this thing, and I just have to sit down and draw this diagram and be like, where's the A start, where's the A end, and so on. So yeah,
right.
We've almost got it. We just need to make sure we're not overlapping. So
right. So B start less than A end in green case is very easy to do and not overlap. So
we've confirmed, because it's not going to be this case, because in this case B start is greater than A end, so we can ignore this one, and and we've got that one. B start is less than A end. hang on.
B start is very easily less than and in green world, but impossible. Like, yeah. So
Yeah.
I just
But
need
this
to
is
be
not
able to
useful
like.
to
I
us,
just
yeah.
yeah.
Because that would give us this separation if we ended up in that that branch of code. So
well, we just need to. Well, this is just the red green chest, right? This is just saying that the A. Let me just like the A start of this thing has got to like A has got to be less than the B start in order for this to make sense. Right? Otherwise we're doing the other way.
I think you're right there. I think you are correct.
And then this one would just simply be then the B start has got to be greater than A start, or we're not in green country anymore.
Well,
yeah, no. B start has to be
these
less
two
than A
conditions are the
start.
same. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one thing that's quite helpful when you're doing this kind of code, and that is if you always think about it with less than signs, then you kind of avoid that flipping order issue. So
Okay.
let's give
Well,
that a
now
go.
I gotta do this. But we have to do this whole mess with. Okay, yeah, I'll wait for the y-axis. We can just worry
This
about
is
that.
true. We could actually just do that, but fortunately, the y-axis is actually almost a direct copy of this.
Yeah.
We just copy paste the code. Well, that
What
was
happened?
that's because the y-axis was the least
Oh, the
separating
winner.
axis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, we could.
I keep doing that again. Wait, which shape? Which way am I going here?
Let's make this simple. Let's go back to the code. Let's make this simple. Why don't we just copy it in? Because it's really quick to fix.
Okay. Cool with that.
Because we just have to flip the all the x's to y's, and then we're done.
Y's for days.
Okay.
What? It's still wrong.
So
It's like deciding to go only in the positive x direction and spitting this guy out the opposite side, as opposed to
let's
choosing that the negative.
well, now we have. Let me see. Like separation is always going to be facing positive x and positive y, so that should be right. So this code is still correct, I think. Yes. So it's just this code here. So we're still not quite right here. And I'm thinking we're both sort of fading a wee bit. So maybe this might be one to save for next week. We can do a little bit of debugging and add on to more of it, because we have actually been going. This is already double length. So
okay.
Let's quit while we're not quite as ahead as we were, but we're doing pretty good, because yeah, up until this point we've got a fair bit of stuff working. So for those people watching on YouTube, can you spot the bug that we made? And
there's
tell us.
There's nobody watching 2 hours.
Well, there's like 14 people subscribed. We're extremely popular.
Well, I don't know. I feel like if someone actually made it to the end of this, I think they should get something. I don't even know what. They deserve something.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Like, so Wednesday we have.
Hang on. Before we start talking about schedule, I'll drop us off the air.
I was just gonna say, like, for the next session, or maybe I start with we open the next video with, maybe do you want me to work this out ahead of time?
Look, if you want to work this out ahead of time, you're very welcome to, and then you can tell me what the solution is. But what I will say is that I hate doing this particular bit of maths. You have to do it all the time. basically an overlapping intersection test. And I constantly get these wrong, and it's a pain in the ass. So it's not unusual that like it's just sort of hard to think about, but it is also a very common bit of code. So once you've done it once, you can be like, oh, not this stupid intersection test again. Let's go back to the last time I did it and just copy it. So there is that. But yeah, so it's not unusual that it's like hard to wrap your head around, particularly when you're a bit tired, like I think we both are. So yeah, so.
Okay.
Sounds good.
We'll pick it up next time.
We'll pick it up next time. So not too long until next time anyway. So 3, 2, 1, goodbye, YouTube.